Alright, what's going on, guys? We're back here on this side of the camp. I'm gonna show y'all some things here about the wall, and I'm gonna talk about the different layers and stuff. So, you know, obviously if you've been watching my videos, you can see how much rock there is in this 2 to 3 foot area here. And that's the midden. I just want to talk about the layer. And inside of this midden, mostly I'm finding discarded points. Occasionally there will be something good. Usually it's a purd. Here in the bottom layer of the midden right here, it gets a little ashier right before the color change into this brown layer, even going right to the color change. And that's where I find most of the lang trees. And those are around 4,000 years old, 35 to 4,500 years old. Right at the very bottom, right at the color chain, I'm finding Bouleverdes, and those are a little bit older than lang trees even, and that's coming out here in this range. Anything below that here is like Nolans and Lahitas. I found some early stem Lancelot, Angosturas. Then there's a gravel layer here that I'm sitting on, and it seems like the paleo people camped almost directly on top of it. Handful of discarded bases and a few St. Mary's Hall points right on the gravel layer. You know, Bouleverdes, early archaic, paleo, lang trees, middle archaic, purds, a few broke Marcus, a few broke Castrovilles, a few broke Frios. I'm hoping on the outer edge of the midden that stuff starts to show up a little bit more. So the amount of, I mean, that's bone right there coming out of, the amount of flakes that it seems that these lang tree people created is amazing. But lang tree might be the, lang tree arenosa might be the two most common points I've found here at the camp. And so the amount of sign that you see here in this layer here, right above the color changes, is remarkable. But yeah, this black dirt is real sticky. Lots of oils in it, thousands of years of cooking, plants and meat, just lots of food processing going on in that stuff. Super cool to think about that underneath all this rock mound here, this midden, that this here is the living surface about 5,000 years ago. You can see, hopefully, with the new living surface here, 2025, that we're walking right here where the paleo people walked 10,000 years ago. What I really enjoy about being out here hand digging, anybody who's spent time in the layers and in the dirt out here hand digging at any camp will tell you there's something special about it. Alright guys, I'm going to show y'all, now that I've shown y'all what's in these layers and how I go about digging this top layer, I'm going to show y'all what this actually is. This is what's considered a burnt rock midden. And you can see I'm right in the center of it. Here in the center is the original pit. And the first people who built this mound dug this pit here. And after they dug the pit, they built a big fire in the center. And then on top of that fire, they put a bunch of big rocks and heated them up till they were smoldering hot and turned red. When they would get hot and the fire would sizzle down some, they would lay wet grass or prickly pear on top of the rocks for a good layer. Protect the food that they were about to put on top. What it would also do is create steam. On top of that layer of food, they'd then put another layer of grass, wet grass or prickly pear, to protect the food from then the layer that they put on top last, which is dirt and rock. Trap the heat inside. And those smoldering hot rock creates enough heat to cook that food for about 48 hours. And after they're done, they dig up all the dirt, the rock, they remove it from the top, they remove the grasses, and they have their food. Well, when they're done with that, they clean out the pit. Well, as they're cleaning out, they gather all the big rocks that they can still use, and they place them back. A lot of the big rocks, over time, after heating and cooling so many times, they would crack and turn into these small pieces that you see. And so what the people would do is they would go inside of there and they would gather all the small pieces of rock and they would toss them back. And over thousands of years of people continuously using this same pit and living here at this same camp, it built up this donut-shaped mound. And that's what we're digging in here. Alright guys, I'm gonna call it a day. I've been out here about 4 or 5 hours. This whole top layer midden back, I gotta get that still a little bit there, but yeah, here she is. Okay guys, we weren't as lucky digging the midden rock this time. That actually came out under the midden. I just happened to see it. That Marshall came out. That would have been real nice. So 4 hours of digging rock, but we weren't digging for this. We weren't digging for today. Always dig for tomorrow.